Hey girl, hey, welcome to Tia's Table. Let's talk about everything from the latest fitness and wellness trends, recipes that are actually worth cooking, and the craziness that's happening on our side of the internet. Sit back, grab a snack, and let's have some girl talk. Hey girl, hey, welcome to season 5 of Tia's Table. I'm Tia, the friend that you don't get to talk to all that often, but when y'all do finally catch up, it's like no time has passed at all. Like, girl, hey, we have so much to catch up on. If you are subscribed to like my emails, you got an email from me last week kind of letting you know this episode would be coming out and we would be truly catching up on all of the things, where I've been, what's been going on. I'm going to tell you all of it. Maybe not all of the details, but I'm going to tell you enough to get you caught up so that we can be on the same page and we can kind of follow and go through what's left of my journey together. But before we get into all of the things, I, of course, want to talk about what's been on my table lately. And girl, let me be honest with you, it's not even all that much. Because of my current medical situation, the season that I'm in, I have not been eating lots of cool, fun, different things. There are a lot of like rules to what I can eat. Most recently, though, they did kind of loosen up the reins on me and tell me I could eat whatever I wanted. But I learned that sticking to the original rules was probably what's going to be in my best interest. So I've been trying to find a good balance of eating what I want to eat, but then also following those initial rules so that I can continue to have like a successful recovery. But what I wanted to do with this portion of our call was to really remind people how great Ayesha Curry's cookbook, The Full Plate, was. Now, over this past week, I feel like Ayesha has been catching a lot of heat on social media for something she said on a podcast over a month ago. I don't feel like that's right. Not only because I feel like what she said wasn't wrong, she was sharing her truth, and I think it's the truth for a lot of women. And I just kind of want to support her in this time that probably wasn't the most fun for her. So if you don't have Ayesha Curry's Full Plate cookbook, go buy it wherever you buy cookbooks these days. I will tell you, the recipes that I've tried from her book have been perfect. You can follow the recipes as they are printed. I think there was only one recipe that I tried that I was just like, I might need to do a little bit more research on this because I don't know if it's me or if it's the recipe, but the rice and peas recipe in her cookbook, I thought it was going to be a lot spicier, and mine didn't have no spice. But that could have been the pepper that I chose at the store. Like, that could have been anything. It was beautiful, but it just didn't give me that heat that I was expecting. My favorite recipes from her book have been the In-N-Out burger, the black pepper steak, the grapefruit salad, the quinoa salad, and pretty much every sheet pan recipe that she has in there. Also, an honorable mention are the orange sauce, like chicken bites, chicken nuggets that are in there. Now, of course, you can buy those like at Costco now, and you just pop them in the oven and you put the sauce on there after and toss them to coat. However, when you make them from scratch from the Full Plate, they do have a little extra bit of something. Like, obviously, everything is going to be better when you make it from scratch, but the recipes in that book are good. So if you want to support her, if you haven't tried any of the recipes, if you don't even know what cookbook I'm talking about, it is The Full Plate by Ayesha Curry, and the recipes really do hit, and they're quick to make. So these are not recipes that take you like all day, all night. I think her intention with this cookbook was to give you those really tasty recipes that you can whip up on a weeknight after work, after you've gotten home from school pickup or after school activities. That was her intention, and it's my personal opinion that that has been the case with the majority of the recipes that I have tried. So yay for her. Yay for that cookbook. Let's get all caught up. Now, I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little bit raspy. I really don't know why. I feel like every day that I wake up, there is something new going on with me. And today it happens to be a little bit of a raspiness in my voice. So don't assume that the way my voice sounds is an indication of how I actually feel, because it's not. I really just don't even know why my voice sounds like this today. But let's kind of talk about what's been going on. Now, in full transparency, I did record this episode already, but I felt like I maybe gave way too much detail. And sometimes I feel like when people do that, depending on the topic at hand, it can kind of create fear, like it projects fear onto people. And if you're a woman listening to this podcast and you're about to go have any type of OBGYN surgery, I would not want you to listen to this episode and be scared for your life. So I decided, you know what? Let's re-record that. Let's leave out some of the details and just give people like a general overview, but tell them enough so that they can kind of understand where I've been for the last month and a half. So as you may or may not remember, on August 19th, I had that surgery to remove the cysts from my ovaries. It was a 45-minute outpatient procedure. I came home. After being home for a few days, I started feeling, what we'll say to be sick, right? And sick in a different way than you expect to feel after surgery. Now, obviously, after you have a surgery, you expect to be in pain, sore, maybe a little weak, something like that. I started feeling sick, right? And that sickness kind of slid into feeling like outright miserable. Okay. We, like me and my husband, we were thinking like, oh, it's because you haven't been able to eat. You haven't been able to keep a lot of fluids down, your own pain medication. Like, so let's just see how you feel on Monday. Because like we had made it through the weekend. And we were like, on Monday, we'll see how you feel. And if you feel like you're not getting better, like we'll call the doctor's office. And so that's exactly what we did. We called the doctor's office that Monday. I spoke to someone on the phone. She was basically like, she'll call in a prescription to Walgreens for the nausea. And like, if things got worse, I could call them back. I don't even remember who that was that I spoke to, but I just remember that being the nature of our conversation. So I get off the phone with her. I'm feeling awful, like miserable. I'm pretty sure in 2020, I had COVID when I came home from a cruise in February of 2020. I'm certain I had COVID, but they just didn't have COVID tests available where I lived yet. So I couldn't get tested for it. They told me I had the flu, but I ended up being sick until like the middle of March, right? I had that experience and I thought at that time that was the sickest I had ever been in my life. Nope. This right here was the sickest I've ever been in my life. Not being able to keep anything down, just feeling miserable in my body. And I can't really explain that and put that to words. It's just that I felt horrible, right? So, the lady was like, we'll call it in the Walgreens, boom. So I'm laying in bed because every time I get up to move or every time I drink something or eat something, I'm literally throwing up green fluid, dark hunter green fluid, right? And at the time, I do remember thinking to myself, I have not eaten anything green. Like, why am I throwing up green fluid? Also, at the time, I didn't know anything about sepsis or signs of it, symptoms of it, none of that. These are all things that I learned after the fact. So still, I'm just thinking to myself, why am I throwing up this dark hunter green color? So some time passes And the doctor's office actually calls me back. She calls me back, and it's an actual doctor. Again, I don't know who that was I spoke to the first time, but this is an actual doctor calling me back. And she was like, hey, I saw where you called and requested medicine for nausea. Can you tell me a little bit more about what's going on with you before I just put an order in, like for that? Because your actual doctor that did your surgery, she's not at work today. So like, I need to get to know you was basically the vibe I was getting from her. And I told her, I was like, yeah, I had that surgery, had my cyst removed. I've been home since the 19th. At first, I felt fine. Things started taking a turn about the third or fourth day I was home. My belly is super distended. It's kind of like red and inflamed down near my incisions. So I don't know if that's what's making me nauseous, but like I can't eat, I can't drink, I can't get up and move because I'm throwing up this dark hunter green color. And she said, okay. She was like, well, let's have you come into the office. I can see you at 1:30. And I think the time might have been like 11:30, right? And so I was like, okay, that's fine. So I get up, I get in the shower, and I literally sit in the shower, like sit on the shower floor from 11:30 to like 12:30. And I don't know why I couldn't get out of the shower, but I just felt better, like with the water running on me. So I sat in there for about an hour. When it got closer to the time that we, needed to start progressing towards leaving the house, my husband was like helping me get dressed and all of that. And very clearly, I could hear God's voice tell me, like, girl, you need to pack a bag. Like, you're sick, you need to pack a bag because you're not coming back home. And so then I said to him, I was like, you need to pack me a bag, put like my phone charger in there, put like chapstick, whatever you think I would need to spend the night somewhere else, put it in the bag, right? So he did. And when I mean to tell you, that man packed me the bare bones minimum because I think he thought I was just crazy. He packed me my phone charger, some Carmax, and that literally might have been it. And see, had I been in my right mind, I would have packed my bonnet, maybe some moisturizer. Like, there are things that I would have packed, but that's neither here nor there because I could tell my husband was stressed. He was rattled and I was like useless. I was just like a sick mess, right? So we, pull me together. We get over to the doctor's office. Then, they take your vitals. The doctor walks in, introduces herself. She looks at me and basically repeats back to me what I said to her on the phone. And she was like, I'm going to admit you to the hospital. She was like, you're going to be a direct admit. She was like, it'll be faster for y'all to just drive over there because their office is so close to the hospital. She was like, it'll be faster for y'all to just drive over there. When you get over there, go to the front desk and let them know who you are. They will be expecting you and they are going to like put you in a room immediately. She was like, don't worry about anything. Go. And so I'm like, okay, well, I was expecting this because, I knew. So I was expecting this. So we get over to the hospital. I make it up to my room. And, that is where I think I either started blacking out or maybe the trauma from it all just deleted my memory of what all happened from that point. I just know once we were in there, they told me you're going to have emergency surgery. And we're about to take you down there right now. And so it was like, oh. And so I do remember going to the pre-op room. I do remember them like doing my IV and like getting me set up for surgery and all of that. I do not remember them fully explaining to me what I was going to be like after surgery. I do remember them explaining to me during your initial surgery, there was an injury to your bowel, like a scrape or a tear, something like that to your bowel. And in order for us to fix that, you're going to have surgery. And that's what we're about to do. If those people told me all of what was going to be the case for me after surgery, I just don't remember it. And I think I would have. So yeah, I don't think I knew everything at that point. I just knew we were about to go into surgery because, this is why you're throwing up the green stuff. And this is how we fix it. So I was like, okay, cool. Boom, bam, we go. I come out of that surgery and you're in recovery. I'm back up in my room. I think by the time I was fully awake, I was already back in my room. And when I woke up and realized that there were things like on my abdomen, even then, I was still in the game. I was like, okay, well, this is what it's going to take for me to get better. Whatever. There was a tube going up my nose, like down in my esophagus. It was like pumping the green fluid out, and I could see it in a canister. And they explained that to me. But, I was still like, okay, well, if this is what it takes, this is what it takes. Everything is going to be okay. We're fine. It was not until my surgeon came back into the room and explained to me that like, I'm a colorectal surgeon. I was like not even at work today. Your doctor called me and had me come in just for you. And now that I know more about her and whatever, she's like a very top rated and reviewed colorectal surgeon, right? And so she was like, they had me come in just for you to perform this surgery. This is what I did. And so let me talk to you about what it's going to be like moving forward. She was like, you probably haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but there is a drain on your abdomen that's helping kind of get some of the excess fluid from the surgery out. I was like, okay, no problem. She was like, and you have a colostomy bag that you'll have to wear for the next 90 days while your bowel is healing. Now, I may have heard of what a colostomy bag was before this. If I did, I didn't retain that information. So her saying that to me was kind of like saying, I don't know, the most foreign thing she could probably say, because I'm not really thinking about what a colostomy bag is. I think I was more focused on the 90 days part, that like, oh, this is like a 90-day situation. So this is not you had an emergency surgery, we fixed you, and you're just going to go back home like better than that from which you came. This is oh baby, this is just the beginning. So like, buckle up, buttercup. You're in for a ride. So I'm like, okay, this is like a 90 days thing. And so she's talking to me about, a stoma, which is what I have, how it works. And basically like they pull a stoma out of your body and they put it on the outside of your body and it's inside the bag. Anytime you have to poop, the poop comes out of the stoma, and of course it comes into your bag, right? What I also didn't know about this whole colostomy bag situation is you also don't pass gas like regular either. Like if you pass gas, it too comes into the bag, which blows my mind. But anyway, so she's talking to me about that. And she lets me know, like, we'll come back and like once you're up and actually feeling better and can remember what we're saying, I will have someone who specializes in colostomy bag care come back and basically teach you guys all about it. And I'm like, okay, okay, all right, okay, okay. And so that was the beginning of my hospital stay. Now, I was in the hospital for 2.5 weeks, and there are several reasons why I was in there. Some of them I understand, some of them I do not. But I think the main thing that I would like to express about being in the hospital that long is that at some point you do start to go a little bit, you just start to go a little bit crazy in there, right? Because you do want to come home. You don't want to be in there. Sleeping in the hospital is the absolute worst. Excuse me. The beds are not comfortable. The pillows are not comfortable. You get woken up every time you fall asleep. It's like they just know, oh, she's sleeping now. Let me come in there and check her blood pressure. Let me come in there and give her some medicine. Let me go in there and just ask her if she wants something, which I couldn't even have anything for half of my stay, but they would just be coming in there asking me like, Miss Smith, do you want me to help you take a bath? Do you want me to help you do this? Do you want me to help you do that? And I would just be thinking to myself, if you're not bringing me something to eat, get out of here. Like, leave me, leave me alone. Of course, I never said that to anybody, but that's what I would be thinking. So my hospital stay was it was quite interesting. I will say that good nurses are everything. And I actually had a great nurse. Shout out to her. Me and her have the same birthday. And she made my stay like amazing. Amazing. So good nurses are everything. So if y'all are ever in the hospital, be nice to the nurses because you see them way more than you see a doctor or like anybody else. When I was allowed to have food, finally, I was super nice to the people that delivered the food because if something came and it either wasn't right or I just was like, oh no, baby, please, like I'm too hungry for you to leave this with me. I know I'm not going to eat it. They would kind of laugh and be like, okay, give me like 15 minutes. I'm going to swap you out. Just don't tell anybody. Those little things. That's why I'm like, it always pays to be nice. It always pays to be nice. But anyway, so after my stay in the hospital, I come home. I got discharged from the hospital on September 10th. I come home and I begin the whole home part of the recovery. Now, I'm very blessed in that I have a home nurse and I have a physical therapist that comes to my house to help me with all of the things. Both of them come twice a week, and that has been extremely helpful. When I first got home from the hospital, I was staying in the guest room, which is downstairs on the main floor, which made care very simple for my husband and the people that, come to help take care of me. When I came home with the drain in my stomach. And of course, I still have the colostomy bag. And I also have a PICC line in my right arm. And a PICC line is basically like a long-term IV that they give you so that you can, give yourself antibiotics at home. So I give myself antibiotics every day. They go through the IV. That is like a very easy, simple thing. But through this whole thing, I have learned so much. I'm like, oh, I know how to administer antibiotics to myself. I know how to do proper wound care. I, of course, know a whole lot about a colostomy bag now. The colostomy bag, really, though, it doesn't require much. And it's so funny because when I was in the hospital, I thought... and I was having emotional breakdowns over the colostomy bag because at the time I thought that was going to be the biggest hurdle for me over these 3 months, when really it has been the least of my worry and concern. The colostomy bag is super simple. You don't bother it, it doesn't bother you. You keep it clean. You change it once a week, which I don't change it. My husband changes it for me. But you change it once a week and that's it. Like, that's it. Truly, I have gone through way more things that I would say needed way more attention than the colostomy bag. So in a lot of ways, my greatest fear and concern with this whole thing ended up being the least of my worries when everything like came down to it. But yeah, so I do the antibiotics at home. My home nurse comes twice a week. One of the days that she comes, she does blood work, which is fine because she takes it right out of my PICC line. So I'm not getting pricked anymore several times a day like I was in the hospital. And the other day that she comes is for PICC line care. So she changes out the dressing on my PICC line and she addresses any wound care that I tell her I need help with. Now, since maybe it's been about 2 weeks, maybe, I got my drain removed. I haven't had much wound care for her to do, right? All of my incisions from all of the surgeries have closed up and healed at this point. My little abdomen has several little polka dots on it now. My belly button is non-existent, like it's still healing. They had to go through there for whatever the reason. And that was probably the worst of all of the wounds to heal. And I could describe that to you guys, but it is so disgusting that I will not. But just so you know, just to put things into perspective, I had that surgery August 25th. Today is October 13th. And it has not healed yet. Like, it's come a long way and it's probably going to heal within the next few weeks, but it hasn't healed yet. And I probably will not have an official belly button after this. Like, I know I won't. I had an Audi before this and now I have like nothing. It'll be a scar where my belly button used to be. So that is interesting. And once all of this is really behind me, I'll probably try to figure out a way to at least lighten the scar where my belly button used to be. Or maybe over time, maybe it'll fade. I don't know. But that's what I say. Like every day I feel like there are new developments, and very rarely have those developments been like easy pills to swallow. But I have been doing it. And I have been trying to be gracious and positive through it all. And I do have to commend myself on that because the amount of times that I probably could have crashed out and I did not should probably be rewarded on some level. And maybe the reward is that I'm still alive, actually. Now that I'm saying that out loud to you, I think that that's probably the reward in and of itself. But yeah, so like wound care has been like a thing and physical therapy has been like a huge thing. So when I initially came home from the hospital, I was a fall risk. I couldn't come upstairs. I am walking with the walker whenever I walk outside. So when we do my physical therapy and I'm like walking the route that I would normally run, when I'm 100% myself, I'm walking with the walker. Whenever I go anywhere and they think I'm going to be out for an extended period of time, they want me walking with the walker. But also I really haven't been like approved or given permission to be out for long periods of time. Right now, of course, they let me go to the doctor and come back home. But like my nurse and my physical therapist is like, girl, you need to be home, resting and healing. Like find something to do in here that does not require you being on your feet for any super long periods of time. So that is what I have been trying to do, which of course at this point in the game is making me a little stir crazy. I do have really bad cabin fever because this was just never my life, just being kind of like cooped up in here. Before all of this, I never even used to turn the TV on during the day because I was always active and like doing something. Now that I'm in a place of like forced rest, I have seen almost everything there is to see on TV worth watching. I feel like I told a friend yesterday, I think it was, like, I have seen the ends of the TV. Like, there's nothing left for me to watch. It's nothing. Like, I got to wait for new stuff to come out because that is how much TV I have watched. And I think that was necessary for those first 30 days that I was home because I really couldn't do anything. I was truly bedridden. Now that I am stronger and I'm able to walk around a lot easier, I've moved upstairs. Like I said, once that drain got removed, they gave me permission to start coming upstairs. And that has been great. Like, I'm sleeping a lot better now that I'm back in my own bed. And I think that has helped me out a whole lot. And I'm just doing better now. Like, I'm walking longer distances outside during physical therapy. She's introduced ankle weights to me, so I'm rebuilding my strength. During this whole thing, I have like completely regressed as far as like how strong I was. Like, I have little to no muscle anymore. I don't know if my body ate all of itself because I was healing, because of the trauma from the surgeries. And of course, they had me on like a no to liquid diet. So I wasn't even really able to eat for much of my hospital stay. I don't know if it was that. I honestly don't know. I just know that I was 160 pounds, like on the nose, the day I had my surgery. And today I'm like somewhere between 140 and 144. It goes up and down. And so a lot of that is muscle that my body just ate up. And when I think about it, I'm just like, yeah, well, Tia, your body had to get energy from somewhere, the energy it needed to heal, the energy it needed to keep you alive. It had to get it from somewhere. And so it ate what was there. And so I am truly appreciative for that my body was able to do that. I really do feel like all the stuff we talk about here, I really do feel like it saved my life, because on the day that we decided to call the doctor, I had a gut feeling that like, oh, like you don't ever feel like this. Like, I rarely ever even get a common cold. Like, when kids go back to school and they catch colds and then they come home, I don't really ever catch those colds for my kids. That's why I said the sickest I've ever been is when I'm pretty sure I had COVID after that cruise. And you probably couldn't pay me to go on a cruise now. That's how sick I was when I came back from that. So this is the only other thing that I could say, like, man, I don't ever feel like this. Like, I feel bad. Like, in my body, I felt like my body was on a decline that I could feel. Like, I could feel it going down. I would say, which I'm not a diabetic, but I would assume the way like maybe a diabetic feels when their sugar is dropping or their sugar is low. I just felt low, like I was tanking. And I think I do remember telling either my stepmom or my husband that, like, no, I feel like my body is tanking. Like, I feel like it's going down. Like, I'm going down. And just feeling that and then actually putting action behind it. That's why I always tell people, if you don't like something that's going on with your body, you don't feel good, call the doctor, go to the doctor. Because sometimes it's the difference between you getting better and you not. Sometimes it's the difference between a situation getting worse that you might not even knew that you had. And in some cases, it's literally the difference between you being alive and you not being here. And that is how I learned about what sepsis was. Because in the hospital, a doctor, whatever the attending doctor, whoever she was, she came in, and I can see her face, but I just can't remember her name. She came in and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I read your file and I just wanted to come in here and see how you were doing, and like basically just like love on you." Which, side note, one of the things I love about being in the Atlanta area and like living here is that almost everyone that was on my care team in the hospital was a Black woman. All of the doctors, all of the surgeons. My colorectal doctor is not a Black woman, but she's amazing. All the nurses, like everybody, everyone. And because of that, when they would come into my room, because they knew what had happened to me, everyone would come in with so much love and like sympathy. And they would give me the space to be upset, or the space to cry, or the space to just not be okay. And I appreciated that so much, because I needed that. Like I needed that. So she came in and was just talking to me about, how do you feel? How is everything going? Do you need me to answer any questions for you? And I was just like, well, yeah. I said, because no one has yet to explain to me all of this in good detail. I said, I mean, I know what happened to me. I understand why I needed the surgery. I understand what a colostomy bag is and how it works. Like, I understand all of those things. I was like, but I'm really a person that likes to understand the totality of a situation. And I said, I still feel like I don't have that yet. So when I was at home and I was throwing up the green fluid, what, and I flat out asked her, I was like, what would have happened if I had like maybe waited another day to see how that went? Or what if I just didn't? What if I was one of those people that just didn't come into the doctor's office or whatever? And she was like, oh, like, girl, you would have died. Like, that's what would have happened. She was like, do you understand what sepsis is? And I was like, no, I guess I don't. And so then she explains to me what it is and about how, once that bacteria gets into your body, like, it's truly a wrap for you if you don't seek out medical attention. And it was from that conversation that I said to myself, well, if we've got to do a colostomy bag for 90 days, you know what? I think I can take it chin out, chest up. It does not mean that I like it. It does not mean that some mornings I wake up and I'm just like, oh, I forgot that this was even like a thing that I'm having to work through. But what it does mean is that I will try my best to handle this as well as I possibly can, because nowhere on my 2025 bingo card did it have me checking out. So I'm thankful to be here. I'm going through the process of getting better. That has been hard. And like I said, I'm really, really, really refraining from giving people all of like the details, because I don't want to put fear out there. So what I'll say is, if you do have a surgery, I don't care if it's outpatient, if it's quick, whatever, when you're home recovering from that, pay attention to yourself at a very high level. Always be hyper aware of what your body looks like and how it feels. And the second something feels off to you, call the doctor. Call them. Now, we are at a place now where I'm crossing over into the next half of the 90 days. I go for a CAT scan on Tuesday so that we can get a picture of my abdomen to see how things are healing in there. I'm very excited about that. I go to the infectious disease doctor as well this week to kind of discuss the antibiotics to see if I can be taken off of those and have my PICC line removed. I would really love it if that happened, because trying to keep a PICC line dry while you're in the shower is not a small thing. And I do know, and I am aware that you can buy the little covers for your PICC line. And I had one. Long story short, we had to throw it away. So I would really love it if this one just kind of got taken out. If, if I can get taken off of the antibiotics, that would be great. What else is happening this week other than my nurse visits and physical therapy? Yeah, and then of course I go back to the OBGYN for a follow-up at the end of this week too. And then next week I'll see my colorectal surgeon. So for the most part, every day I'm either with my nurse with physical therapy or I'm at a doctor's appointment. And that has just been my thing. So the steps to the reversal would be the CAT scan that I have on Tuesday. A few weeks after that, I'll have another CAT scan that will ultimately determine when my next surgery is scheduled. I'll have that next surgery to have the colostomy bag and my stoma and all of that reversed. And then, of course, I'll have to have a recovery period after that surgery. But, we're taking it all in stride. I'm in a much better place than I was in August. In August, you could not have even spoken to me about this without me breaking down crying. And look at me today in October, doing a whole podcast episode about it. So keep me in your thoughts and prayers for a recovery that is timed the way it should be timed and that goes smoothly. I appreciate everybody so much for all of your love and support. And we will be getting back to the podcast like as we know it now that I can actually talk without wheezing and coughing, because that was like a big thing for me too at the beginning of all of this. Like I couldn't even talk without not being able to, So remember, when you're out, be nice to someone, compliment someone, make a woman's day. Don't compete, don't compare, don't complain. What God has for you is for you, and never knock another woman's hustle. I'll talk to you next time, girl. Love you. Bye.